It was a very, very difficult time. It was a child that was born to two wounded parents, and they were wounded children themselves. My mother was 17 and my father was about 19 when they got married. And I came along when she was 24 years old. And there was a lot of pain in the house. There were a lot of arguments. He was very physically abusive and verbally abusive to the both of us. It was really a difficult and very hard time, especially for a man child. I don't know what it's like for a little girl, but I'm sure it's just as painful. But for a boy child, a man child, to watch his mother being beaten and belittled, it was really, really hard. So I went under the house and I built this little, put some wood up in between some of the pillars and built this little safe place for me. And I painted it robin egg blue. I had found some paint somewhere, painted it blue, and I would sit in this room and I would let my imagination take me to other places. I would just be somewhere running through grass and trees while I'm listening to all of the pain and all of the heartache up above me in the floorboards. So it was a very difficult time, but the beauty in that moment, and I say this to people all the time, is that I know that all things work together for your good. When I am writing a script or a movie or writing The Have and Have-Nots or If Loving You Is Wrong or writing any of these shows or movies, in my imagination, I go to a place where I'm in that world. And that was formed and born inside of all that pain. So the little boy's imagination is where the man goes now to feed his dreams. So it's a beautiful thing when you know that all things are going to work together for your good. I started doing this play after watching the Oprah Winfrey show. She said it was cathartic to write things down. Now, I didn't know what cathartic meant, so I had to go find a dictionary. So I'm saying at high school, I went and found a dictionary and I started writing things down in this journal, and I was using different characters' names because if someone found it, I didn't want them to know that I had been through the things that I was talking about. I was talking about adult survivors of child abuse at the time. So in 1993 or so, I moved to Atlanta. I moved in 92. In 93, I decided to put the play up. Worked, saved money. My tax returns from H&R Block, did everything I could to put this show up. And I spent all my money. There was a 200-seat theater. I thought we would do all of these different shows over the weekend and 1,200 people would show up, and only 30 did. So I lost everything I had. My car payment, everything was tied up in it. And it was a very, very difficult time because I know I felt led to do this show about adult survivors of child abuse who had forgiven their abusers. Out of the 30 people, and I knew every one of them in the room, there was somebody said, this really touched me and I want to invest. That's how you know when God is doing something for you, because he'll put you on a path, and just when you think you're at the end, somebody or someone will show up and say, hey, here's another opportunity over here. So from about 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, we did this play once a year, everywhere, in these little small towns outside of Atlanta, and they never worked. They never worked. Every time I'd go, something would happen. I'd go get a job, and I'd go, after I'd work on the job for a couple of weeks, I'd get a call saying, hey, Tyler, we want to try the play somewhere else. And I go to my boss and I say, listen, I need 2 weeks off to go do this play. He's like, man, you've just been working here 2 weeks. How do you think you can get 2 weeks off? And I go back to my desk and I sit and I pray and I was like, okay, God, I know I just got this job. I know I just did the play, it didn't work. I got another opportunity here. If this is you telling me, make it plain. What should I do? And I hear this voice say, quit. Now, I'm not telling you to go quit your job. I'm telling you my story. Quit your job, send me your bill, say, you told me to quit. No. That's not what I'm saying. So there I was, stepping out on faith, leaving a job that I knew this money was going to come in from week to week to go out and do this play because I heard the voice of God. So I remember every time I'd go out to do the show, it wouldn't work, it wasn't successful. I'm like, God, I know you told me to do this, and when I'd pray, I'd hear nothing. That same voice that said, quit, I heard nothing, which was a very difficult time for me, very difficult. And I remember the time that you're talking about, it was in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I had gotten another job, because I had more jobs. Man, I had about 20 jobs during this time. I'd gotten another job, asked the boss, he said no, I heard the voice quit. I go out, do the show, and I'm driving there, and there's a hurricane headed toward Spartanburg. Hurricane. I'm like, God, I know you control the wind and the waves, but you told me to quit, and now nobody's gonna show up. So I lost everything. Homeless, sleeping in my car. In Chicago was where it started about 18 years ago. I had this play called I Can Do Battle By Myself, I think it was the first one, and Madea was in the show, but there was a lady who was supposed to show up who didn't. So I had a small role, but it became much bigger because that person didn't show up. I had her lines in mind. And then at the end of the night, I was apologizing to the audience because I'm like, I was advertising that this person would be there. She had a hit record on the radio and she didn't show up. And the audience is chanting, "We don't care, we don't care." So that's how it all started. When you follow God, sometimes things get tough, they get tight. But if you keep pushing just on the other side of when you think it's the darkest, something miraculous will happen that will change your life. Something will open up that will blow your mind. So in 1998, and I got an opportunity to do the show again, and it was at the House of Blues. And I was like, I don't know, I'm done. I'm gonna do like my mother said. My mother, who loved me dearly. We were doing a play at that Spartanburg trip, and I couldn't afford to pay the credit card because she had rented a van for us. And that bill was $300. And $300 to my mother was like 30 million. Let me tell you something. My mother loved me to death, sweet, wonderful woman, but she would cuss you out and beat you up and then pray for you as she's taking you to the hospital. That's the kind of person she was. So we were sitting in the house and she was saying, "Listen, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of you doing these plays. Just stop it. Just stop it. I'm tired of you crying about it." And the woman loved me more than anything. She said, "You know what? Just give it up. Just go get your job working at the phone company. You're never gonna make it with these plays. Just go get a job at the phone company." I was sitting there in tears when she was saying it to me. She turned around and she saw me because I was sitting behind her on the sofa and the blood drained from her face. And she said, "Baby, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know how important this was for you." But what I want you to understand is that I don't care how many people love you and encourage you or the ones that try to tear you down or destroy you. When God has a dream for you, it is your dream. Your dream. Your dream. And there are people who love you who will think that they're saying the right things to you to try to protect you, or there are people that have been in your lives and watched you grow up, and they don't know what God has put down inside of you because they think they're too familiar with you. But what you have to understand is when God has something for you, you have to go for it fully. So that's what I did. I did the show. I get this opportunity to do the show in 1998. It's at the House of Blues, and I walk in and I'm mad. And I'm angry because all those years, those 7 years of me trying to get this play up, nothing was happening. God would tell me to quit, then he'd get me out there and he'd leave me. You leave me out here by myself. God, where are you? You wouldn't even talk to me during these dark times. So I was mad, I was done. I had went to get my application at South Central Bell, like my mother said, and go to work at the phone company. I wanted some benefits to get my teeth fixed. So there I am. 1998, get this opportunity at the House of Blues, and I walk in and they're all they call it folk art all over the walls. I'm from New Orleans. I said, "That's voodoo and I'm not performing here. Get it off the way." So they told me the next day, well, House of Blues was pulling out. So House of Blues was gone. So the name of the place would return to its original name. It was a church. It was called the Tabernacle. So I was about to perform in a place called the Tabernacle. I go and I do the show and I'm complaining all the way. I'm there putting on my makeup, getting ready to play the old man Joe, and I got attitude. I'm just mad, I'm upset. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I hear that voice, that one that told me to quit, say, "Shut up." Let me tell you something, when God tells you shut up, you sit around, what happened? And he said, "Get up and look out the window." I got up and looked out of this little dusty window, and there was a line around the corner trying to get in the building. And the place sold out over and over and over again. And I said, "God, where were you in all those times?" He said, "I was proving you to see that you would honor this, that you would do the right thing with it." Sometimes when you're not hearing from God, God is trying to see what you're going to do in the situation that you're in. No matter how many people lied to me, no matter how many people told me I couldn't do it, I kept the dream alive. And there are some dreams in this room, and I want you to know something. The people like the economy, some things going on, this is the time for you to step out on faith. I promise you, there's a transferring of things that is happening in this time, and you will miss it. It'll slip right out from under you. All of the dreamers in this room, you've got a dream that you have let go, you have let die. You need to go back, dust it off, and wake it up. You're never too old. It can come to pass, I promise you. You're looking at a man who is full of miracles here. I've seen nothing but miracles in my life. And let me tell you this, God will do something for you. Everybody that you go to ask for help. So if I get to this person, they'll help me. If I get to this person, they'll help me. You think that person is the one that's gonna help you. God will close all of those doors. Everybody I asked for help, who could have helped me, didn't.
And I was confused. I was angry. I was like, God, well, why is everybody, they got this and they got this and they can't help me? God said, I'm going to do this for you in a way that you know it was me. So if doors are closing, don't worry about it. If they ain't working out, don't worry about it. It's God sending you in the direction that you are supposed to go in. And he put me in a place where I can not only write shows and movies and do all that stuff, but I can also hire hundreds and thousands of people. So that is a blessing. It truly is. I live in positivity. I live in it. I love it. I have it all around me. So as a man thinketh, so is he. And if you plant it all around you, it's got to come back to you. That is a universal law. It is in the Bible. I promise you, if you plant good things, people say, how'd you get so blessed? How'd you have so much favor? I give favor. I plant favor. I'll walk up to people and just do nice things for them randomly and do things that people don't even know that I'm doing, because I want God to continue to do that for me. And I promise you, what I found is that if you are struggling and you want to be blessed, help somebody else who's struggling, because there's always somebody who's doing a little worse than you are.
What broke in the moment, if you wonder what happened, like from the time when I started doing these shows to the time when they started to take off, what broke in the moment? Well, here I was with this script about adult survivors of child abuse whose parents had abused them. And the characters in the show that I had written from my own mind had forgiven their abusers, but I hadn't forgiven my father. So one day we were on the phone before the show sold out, before everything changed. We were on the phone and I got a chance to just say everything that was on my mind, because I wasn't the little boy anymore. I was a 6'6" man and I wasn't afraid. And I started saying everything that I needed to say to him. And the things that came out of my mouth blew my mind. But at the end of it, what I heard was, I forgive you. I said, I forgive you to him. And something shifted in me. Something shifted. Let me tell you something. Forgiveness is so incredibly powerful. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It is for you. There are people living their lives who've done you wrong. They are happy walking down the street, not even thinking about you. But there you are holding on to unforgiveness. When I forgave this man, I found myself I was lost for a second, because my entire fuel was based on the negativity of not forgiving him. But once I forgave him, I had to find a way to find another source of fuel. So the negativity and all the darkness that I'd been through was the source. Now I needed a more positive source. Now I needed a good source, a pure source. It's like taking a car that runs on diesel and putting regular gasoline in it. And then all of a sudden you say drive and something's gonna go wrong. So you have to rework all the components inside of your mind to be able to understand how to function in positivity. So that shift for me was so incredible. Forgiveness did all of that for me. And the minute I did that, the minute I started to function and doing the right thing and being positive, I went from nobody coming to the show to not having enough seats for the people to get into the place.